Welcome to a quick guide on how to use the HTTP request in Godot. So this guide will be short, sweet, and simple, but I will also give you all the necessary information so you can keep going more in depth with this. But like the title suggests, I'll show you how to do it in just 2 lines of code if you want the most simple version, quick version in order to do HTTP requests. I'm just creating a new node here, and for this example, I will be using the weather API. So there's a bunch of API links that you can get, or any sort of URLs that you can call. You can do it with your own server. For my game, which is an asynchronous auto battler, I do use my own server, for example, to do this sort of stuff with HTTP requests, but I'm using an open weather API, and I'm just choosing for Brussels the forecast, and then it gives me at the bottom here a little URL that I can call, and I'll use this for this tutorial, but you can find any sort of other URLs that you want. You can fetch like GitHub URLs, whatever. So what is an HTTP request? It's a way to request or send information through HTTP online. And you can hear my cat in the back. I don't know what she wants, but hopefully she won't be too loud. I'm just gonna start with a ready function, and HTTP request is just a node. So I'll create a variable called rec because it's short, sweet, and easy, which is gonna be an HTTP request, and that's it. So this is a node in Godot that you can use, that you can instantiate, which means we also need to add it into the scene tree, like so. We need to add it so it can actually process, and then we're pretty much done. We can send off our request. So in order to fetch information from the URL that we have, we can just do rec.request, send a request, and as you can see, there's a lot of parameters in this one. I'll explain them later, but for the simple example, we just need to fetch some information. We can just put in the link that we copied, and that's it. Now it's going to send up the request, and it's going to send something back to Godot. So it's going to send our information back, but right now we have no way to get that information. So if I run this, let me save everything first. Nothing's going to happen. Like, it's going to send a request, but we don't see any outputs yet. Where does it go? Well, it gets sent back as a signal. So our request node has a signal called request completed. Now the signal, we need to connect it to a function, to our own function. So I'm gonna create a function called received, and it doesn't exist yet, so I'll make function received here. And one thing though is, if you hover over the request completed, you can see that the request, well, it's a bit small here, but the request that we get back sends us a bunch of information that we will have to fill in here. So the first one is the result, I think, which is an integer. It's actually an enum, but I'll explain all of these again later. But for the simple example, I just can omit it. The response code, I think it is, which is also an integer. Then it sends the headers as a packed string array, and it sends the body, which is what we actually care about, is the actual response, as a packed byte array. So as we can see here, a bunch of stuff that we get back that we can use in various ways. So now let's actually get our information. So we have a body, but it's just a bunch of packed bytes. We need to first transform this into a string. So I'm going to do a variable string, which is going to be body, and there's a single function that you can use on this, which is get string from UTF-8. So this will transform the bytes into a string. Now this string needs to be parsed still into data we can use. So for that, we're actually going to make a JSON. If you're not familiar with JSON, it's basically let me just cast it. It's basically like a dictionary, but it's a data format. So it reads like a dictionary, but it is not a dictionary. That's why you usually don't use it much in Godot or when just doing game dev stuff, but it's a format that is used to transmit data and save data. So we create a new JSON, and then we can create our dictionary that we want from this. I'll just call it data. It's gonna be a dictionary. And this will be equal to json.parseString. So we're going to parse the string that we created from our bytes. So there's a few steps we're going to do with the data we get, because it's transmitted as bytes, to first turn it into a string, then parse it through a JSON variable and put it in a dictionary. And that should be it to receive the data that we want from our weather API. So now if I test this out, we should see an output in the terminal which we do, and it is, as you can see, a big dictionary. Now, it sends us a lot of information. We don't care about all of it. I just want to display the temperature, let's say, for Brussels right now. So if I do a little bit of digging, I can see there's a key called current, which is a nested dictionary with the time, the interval, the temperature, the rain, and the weather code, and the wind speed. And these are things that I defined on the website that I wanted. So you can see here, I ticked on those specific things that I wanted to return from the API. So I want that, meaning I will just get those. So I have the data, I'll get, let me close this first. I will get current, and then it returns me the nested dictionary with all of the current data. And from that, I'll get temperature. And that prints me the temperature. So degrees Celsius. Now if I run this, I will just print 0 degrees Celsius. Did I make a typo? Current, yes, it's not temperature, it has something else in the end, which is _2m. And now it prints 21.5 degrees Celsius. I need to add a space, but as you can see, we can now fetch the weather from a single URL with not too much code. But first, before I show you how you do it in just 2 lines of code, the easiest way possible in case you just want to quickly fetch information, I also want to talk a little bit about what other utility this has, because there's so much you can do with HTTP requests. It gets very complex. But as I said with the request function call, there is a lot of stuff. So the first thing was the URL. Actually, I can just open it here. I can't make this larger, sadly. But the request first has a URL that you send, which is what we just did. And then it has custom headers. So in case you need to send an API key or some other custom headers, this is where you would create those in a packed string array. I'm not going to go over that in this tutorial, but that's how you get, for example, access to your server and stuff like that. Then there's the method. So method 0 is going to be get, but there is also, if you want to post to somewhere, you have method post. As I said, these are enums, they're just cast as integers, but we just do the symbol get. But you can also just get the headers, you can post, you can do all sorts of other operations. So this is very flexible, but by default it will just fetch information. And then you also have the last one, which is request data. Some other thing that you can put in there, but this is the most common way that you're going to use it as per this example. And then also when you connect, the result is an integer. Again, these are all enums. So if I go here, the results that you get, the integers correspond with, for example, success, with can't connect, can't resolve, connection error. So this is how you're going to be debugging. If you take your result here, print result, you can actually see what happened. Was it successful? Was there an error? What was it? Same with the response code. It is very similar. I don't know if it's going to show it in here somewhere, but the enum should be enumerations. It's somewhere else then. There's the response code, which is also going to give you more information about what actually happened. I think these are the most general enums as well. And then the headers is also the headers that you get back from the server that you request from. And then the body is just always going to be the data that you requested. So that is basically in these 2 function calls, you're going to be nesting most of the data that you want to transmit and receive. And now let me show you how you do this in a single or in 2 lines of code, I should say. So first of all, I'm just going to use a node. So because an HTTP request is a node, you can just create an HTTP request, or you can just write the HTTP request script, so you don't need to create and instantiate it. But I'll just create this one. I'll call it rec, make it a unique name so we can access it in our script. And then instead of obviously needing to create an HTTP request and adding it as a child, we can just reference it with this little thingy here. Very simple. So that means that we can also just do %rec.request, send a request, and then instead of connecting our signal to a new function, we can just do a lambda function, right? I made a whole video on it, but instead of connecting this to a callable, we can just write our callable in here. So I'm just going to open these brackets for now, and we just, instead of going to the receive function, type the function in here. So again, there's 4 parameters in the function header. As we see, there's result, response, headers, and body. We only really care about body most of the time, unless you want to do debugging and do more complex stuff if you're working on a bigger project as well. But so I'm just gonna put some temporary stuff here, and then the last one is the body, which I will still type to make our life a bit easier. So body is a packed byte array. And now we can do things in a single line of code. So first of all, we want to get our string. So we do body get string from UTF-8, which is the first part. Then you don't actually need to create a JSON variable. It's like good habit, but you can also just do JSON, if I type it correctly, parse string, and then pass in the string that we just created. So like this. And now we created our string, parse our string, and this is gonna be a dictionary basically. So then all we need to do now that we have our dictionary from our JSON is get the information that we want, which is going to be this. So we move here and then add it into the end here. So we get our parse string, which is here, and we get our information. And that basically returns what we want. So we just need to print this out. I'll put another bracket in the end. So you can see, basically, instead of putting everything on one line, you can kind of just put it in a single. Also, this needs to be requests, like so. And that should be it. I should be able to remove all of this. And I can even just put this onto one line. And now we have 2 lines of code, which should also print out the temperature, 21.5. It's again just the same thing. We just created a lambda function. And then we just do our print. Again, we JSON parse our string, which is the body.get string from UTF-8. We turn the bytes into a string. Then we parse it into a dictionary. And then we just get whatever value we want from the dictionary, which is going to be in current, temperature to M. So 2 lines of code to get any information from the web. I mean, I'm not counting the ready function. You can do this in 1 line of code. There's a lot of cheating you can do, but this is probably the simplest and fastest way that you can quickly get anything in case you need it for testing, a project, whatever. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it gave you enough information. And if you want a more in-depth one about how to post, how to do this with custom servers, let me know. Thank you for watching.